everybody, how's it going? I'm really glad to be here today. It's been a few weeks since I went live, and that's because July was just absolutely crazy for me. I went on vacation and I moved. Anyone who's watched my lives before might notice that the behind me looks different. That's because I'm in a different room in a different house. Going along with that, I am actually going to be just a little bit blind doing this today. I usually have a second monitor that I can use so that I can see comments and at the same time the PowerPoint presentation. But since I moved into my new house, the second monitor I was using was actually my laptop, and it has not really stopped working, but it won't actually, what's the word? It won't pick up the Wi-Fi like at all. We've tried everything to get it to register our Wi-Fi, and it's just an old laptop. So I'm trying to solve that right now. And hopefully by the next time I go live, it will be solved. I will have a second monitor I can use. But today I might just be a little bit slow at answering comments and that sort of thing. And if I am, that's why. Okay, so let me turn this on. If anybody could tell me whether or not they can hear me, everything looks great on my side. But if you can't, please let me know, and I will try to check every so often. This is not going to be a terribly long live today, but I wanted to go over whether you consider yourself the unheard author, fiction author, or the illustrious bard. Now, what are those things? I'm going to define them for you, but they are the names that I came up with that are sort of the continuum, if you will, the two ends of the continuum of author success. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Let me add the PowerPoint into the stream for just a second. Okay, here we go. So, are you the unread author or the illustrious bard? I want you to stop and think for a minute about which one of these you might be and how it might be affecting your business. Now, I know you don't actually know how they're defined yet, but which one would you rather be between the two? Which one sounds better? I'm sure the answer is the illustrious bard, right? You don't want to be an unread fiction author. It just sounds cooler and nicer to be the illustrious bard, right? So let's define these terms and talk about how you can transition from one to the other so that you can take control of your author business. Okay, before we get started, I want to remind you that I'm still looking for a few authors who are interested in having me run their Amazon ads. Whether you want to learn how to run ads yourself, for yourself, or if you have, even if you have no interest at all in learning, just want someone to do them for you, I'm here for you. That's what I'm trying to do. So if you'd like me to research, create, monitor, and over time scale up your Amazon ads for you, for your books, then either DM me or email me at liesl@lkhillbooks.com, and we can chat about whether this is right for you. Okay? So let me ask you a few questions. Do you only sporadically have trouble? Oh, sorry. Do you only write sporadically, if I can read my own sentence there, and have trouble buckling down into a daily writing habit? Does it take you weeks or months to finish a single manuscript? Do you constantly doubt whether the stories you write will resonate with readers and whether those readers will come back to your books again and again? Do you struggle to know how to market and what will work, specifically for your books? Do you only commit small chunks of money to marketing each month, or maybe none, because you're afraid of spending and not getting a return? And finally, do you lack confidence as an author, either in your actual writing or in the business side of your author business, or both? I want you to sit and think about whether any of those apply to you, because most people, they apply to at some point in their author career, especially in the beginning years. So really what it comes down to, are you satisfied with the current rate at which you're writing? If you could pick any speed of writing in the world and you would be able to write awesome novels at that speed, is it the speed you're at now? Are you satisfied with how quickly and efficiently you're writing now? And how about the number of sales and downloads you're getting? Are you satisfied with how much money you're making on your books? Ask yourself that. So if any of these apply to you, the questions that I asked in the previous slide, don't worry. I felt this way too. Everybody feels this way in the beginning. It's very common, but I really deeply believe that if you can master the attributes of the illustrious bard, which I'm going to go over here, you'll have more readers, more fans, more sales and downloads, and a more thriving author business. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. So with that, let's define what these two terms mean. What are the attributes of the unread fiction author? They have no daily writing habit. And for any of you who might have attended the workshop that I did a little over a month ago, you will know that by a daily writing habit, I don't necessarily mean that you have to write daily. It is more like just having a recurring habit as often as you can do it. But more than that, it's about training your brain to turn on your creative muse whenever you do have the time to write. And, you know, making writing second nature to you. Okay, so no skimping and saying, oh, well, I already wrote twice this week, so I'm not going to write again. No, write every day if you possibly can. And if it's not possible for you to write that day, that's one thing. But no excuses. You have a daily writing habit such that writing is no longer quote unquote hard. I mean, I'm never going to say that writing is easy, but it becomes second nature to you. It's just something you do, not something you struggle with. The unread fiction author constantly struggles and worries that what they're writing might not land with readers. Sorry, there's a little bit of a typo there. They also struggle to market. They fear to spend money on marketing. And they lack confidence in the writing, the storytelling, and their marketing or business abilities. Okay, so those are kind of the three tiers. You got to get your words down, you got to get your story mastered, you got to get your marketing down. And the unread fiction author struggles with all of these things. On the flip side, let's talk about the Illustrious Bard. The Illustrious Bard writes daily or has trained their muse to switch on whenever and however often they want it to. Okay, so they have developed this quote unquote daily writing habit, even if they're not actually writing 7 days a week. They always write stories that connect deeply and naturally with their readers, okay? And this is because they've taken pains to create worlds, characters, character arcs, and plot arcs that they know will resonate with readers. They've done that based on reader psychology and the way that readers and human beings naturally connect with story. The Illustrious Bard markets at every stage of the author journey, connects with their readers very often, whether it be on social media or through email, and they always offer their book to people that they know will want to read it. Okay, so they're connecting with their ideal readers and not worrying about connecting with someone who's not that interested in their book. They spend money and market with confidence because they know their marketing is going to get results. And of course, they have the confidence in general of knowing that every book they write will have a deep emotional effect on their audience and stick in the audience's mind long after that same audience has consumed that story, okay? So I'm gonna ask you again, which would you prefer to be? Obviously, the answer is the Illustrious Bard, right? Nobody wants to be the unread fiction author. Clearly, you wanna be the second choice. So let's talk about how to transition from the unread fiction author to the Illustrious Bard. Now, like I said, these two are kind of the extremes of the continuum, if you will, of author success. So you may not be all the way to the extreme of the unread author, but if you have a few of the attributes, then you're kind of over there. And on the flip side, depending on where you are, you might have a few attributes of the Illustrious Bard, but you just don't have all of them. You're not quite there yet, right? So we need to figure out how to transition from wherever you are into a more successful author and closer to that Illustrious Bard status. Well, the ways you do this is you have to master your writing, which is getting the words down. You have to master your story, which means writing something every single time that will really resonate with readers and that they will want to read and have an emotional reaction to, right? Writing is all about developing that emotional reaction and pulling it out of the reader. And of course, you have to master your marketing because we all know that there is a lot of competition these days. And, you know, you just throw a book up on Amazon, it's just going to fall into the black void of the internet. Nobody's actually going to see it. But how? That is the question du jour, right? So you may be thinking, how do I do that? There's so much information out there and a lot of it conflicts. And you would be right if you're thinking that. I mean, there's information out there that was working a few years ago and isn't anymore. There's information that is out there that has never worked as far as I know. You know, and then there are trolls and we all know all of that. Even if you hear of something that works, maybe you don't have the time or the resources to test it for your books right now. So you might say, okay, well, I can't do that now, but in a few months I will. And in a few months, it may have changed, right? Amazon changes their algorithm, or we have this, you know, iOS update that's kind of changing things, changing how to target people on Facebook, things like that. That's hard, okay? So how do you learn this? How do you keep up with things that are changing? The best way to do that is to shortcut your way to success rather than taking years and years of trial and error by learning from people who are being successful now, okay? And that's where I come in and I can help you with that. My course is all about building a sustainable author business around your fiction, okay? The key word there is sustainable. It has to be sustainable, not just something that you're kind of, you know, doing a little bit on the side, not something that you're losing money on, certainly, really genuinely sustainable, okay? So my course will teach you everything you need to be successful now in 2021, not in 2014, not in traditional publishing. I do focus on indie publishing because that's where I think you're gonna get the most success these days. I often say that I wouldn't touch traditional publishing with a 10-foot pole right now, and I really don't say that to be negative or to say that it's wrong, but I just know that I'm going to be much more successful and much more free as an author if I publish indie, that's all. So I very much am an advocate for that. This will teach you how to build your backlist quickly and master your marketing, get that daily writing habit down, and really start making money on your books, okay? My academy, which is just getting underway, is going to provide community support, accountability, coaching, and the ability to get your questions answered and much more, okay? So I think I was supposed to be, okay, it was just the one. I thought I was a few slides behind. Let's recap really fast. In order to go from being the unread fiction author to the illustrious bard, these are the things that you need to do. These are the things that you need to master. You must purposefully develop a writing habit so that writing becomes second nature to you. Okay, if you do that, that will serve you for the rest of your life, for the rest of your career. And you know, it's kind of the bedrock. It's kind of the foundation. If you cannot sit down and write the words, it doesn't matter how good a story you tell. It doesn't matter how awesome you are at marketing. You have nothing, you have no product, right? So you need to develop that writing habit. You need to learn to use story psychology and human nature to craft your stories so that they are easy and natural for your readers to consume. If the reader has a hard time consuming your story, they're not going to come back and buy anything else from you, okay? Plain and simple. And you need to learn to market efficiently at every stage of the author journey without being slimy. Of course, none of us like that, feeling icky about sales. But you need to do it in a way that your ideal reader, the one who actually is really interested in reading your book, gravitates toward your work naturally. Okay, that is the only way to market. And it's the only way we all want to market on the one hand, but it's also really the only effective way to market because people don't really respond to slimy tactics. It might work here and there a little bit, but overall, that's not going to be a long-term strategy for you, okay? So if you would like help with this, if you have any questions or comments, please type success. I put in the chat, I guess it's not really a chat, but please type the word success in the comments and I will contact you and just see how I can help you in your writer journey right now, okay? That said, that's pretty much what I have for you today. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit. Hold on. Find out where I'm at here. In fact, maybe I'll just remove that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about what I've said or any questions about anything? I'll give you a few minutes here. I'm going to grab some water and see if anybody has any questions they would like me to answer. All right, I'm not seeing any. There's a little bit of a lag, so I'll just give it about 10 or 15 more seconds. This is pretty straightforward. And anytime that you do have questions, feel free to DM me or email me, and I will do anything I can to help you on your current writer's journey, okay? All right, so if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments if you think of anything after this, and I will check it for the next few hours, okay? So with that in mind, I would love it if you guys would just consider what I've said, all of these 3 different areas, developing your daily writing habit, developing your story craft, and developing your marketing abilities, and just think about it in your head and maybe brainstorm some ways that you could move yourself along in one of those areas. You don't have to be a master today or tomorrow, but what could you do to help educate yourself more and help, you know, kind of move along the continuum toward that illustrious bard status? And yeah, whatever you come up with, put it in the comments, and maybe it will spark some ideas for some other authors. Okay. All right. Well, everybody have a great week of writing, and I will see you later. Bye.